Cole Palmer is the best player in the Premier League right now.
Man United, who have absolutely hit new lows.
He hasn't got enough going on upstairs to kind of feel pressure. Yeah. They used to be the team that put pressure on other teams, scare other teams. Now they only turn up in games where there's no pressure. They turn up in Barnsley, or against in an FA Cup final against Man City where everyone's expecting them to lose, so the pressure's off. They'll turn up in that game.
That's
probably
mental.
Yeah, he's probably got a positive KD at the moment, which is crazy.
Definitely.
I regret that. I hold my hands up. That was a little bit of bias.
They were such an unknown quantity going into the season.
It was a little bit of bias.
Ten Hag, you're a fraud.
Wallahi is personal.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode 110. And boy, have we got a nice little episode for you today. We're going to be kicking it off with a little talk about Chelsea, Cole Palmer, Maresca, all them things. Then we're moving on to talking about how poor Man United are. Stinky Man United.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah, mainly ugly at Man United. And then we're going to...
Or good, Chelsea, bad, Man United, ugly, me, because I'm doing BoreDraw 5s this week. So stay tuned to the end of the video to see how I got on in BoreDraw 5s.
We'll kick it off with the good. Chelsea, absolute domination. Kick me off, mate. Where do we begin?
Well, let's start. I was going to say, the game's weird. 4-2 Chelsea, and we'll talk about the game in a bit, but we've got to talk about Cole Palmer.
Oh, mate, he's just a joke, isn't he?
I was so close to getting this done in my fantasy team, and then Gazer at work was like, oh no, he hasn't had the best start to the season. There's better assets for that price range. And fair dues, maybe he hasn't bagged as many, like he finished second in the goal scoring charts last season. He's not bagging at that same speed. But the 1 week I decided not to get him in, -4 on Brighton's head.
Mate, 4 goals in what was it, like?
In the first half. I think he did it in like a quarter of an hour.
Mate, it was nuts. It's incredible. He's such an explosive player. Like, if he has a good game, there's no stopping him.
Yeah, I think it's exactly that. Like, there's a lot of players, if they have a really good game, maybe get 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I hate the him versus Saka debate because, in my opinion, they play different positions,
different roles for their team.
Different roles for their teams. Like Saka, he's right now he's an assist every game. Yeah, only player to do it 6 on the trot from the start of the season. But yeah, they're different players. Cole Palmer's a kind of everything man. Like
he gets involved,
closer compared to Odegaard, I'd say, than Saka. But
maybe Cole Palmer is what Bruno was at United.
Well, we'll get on to United, but have you seen all the people saying, because Cole Palmer grew up a United fan, that Cole Palmer should be the Bruno replacement? Don't know who United fans think they are.
So he grew up a United fan, played for City's academy in City, and then moved to Chelsea.
He's doing a Raz. He's a bit of a big six merchant.
Once you become a professional footballer, unless you stick at one club, you cannot say you're a fan of any team.
Sacks, I'm looking at you, mate.
But yeah, it's nuts. And I mean, Chelsea, we've seen under Maresca, we didn't really know what to expect going into the season because Maresca's Leicester were good, but underwhelming, I think, in the end. I think his time was at Palmer or Palermo. It wasn't so good either. So we weren't really know what to expect, but obviously Chelsea went in with him because they're like one of Pep's disciples, you know, he's one of those, man. And to be honest, the start of the season has been good for them. What's the stat? The first time in the top 4 in how long?
23 months. Chelsea end the week in the top 4 for the first time in 23 months. That's nearly 2 years.
They've had 18 managers.
This club, they are seasoned winners of kind of our generation of like the last 20 years. They're England's most successful club, probably. Don't hold me to that. It might be Man City now, but it probably is still Chelsea. So to be outside of the top 4 for nearly 2 years, alhamdulillah, that is mental.
It is mental. And they have been really good this season so far.
They have.
I mean, in front of goal, they can't stop scoring. They've smashed goals past teams like it's nobody's business.
6 against Wolves.
I mean,
yeah, 4 here.
The issue for them is defensively. They are shipping goals though, but they're one of those teams. They're sort of like old school Liverpool, where it's like, doesn't matter however many you score, we'll score more than you. Is it sustainable going forward? I don't really know, but is this maybe just because they still haven't found their best back 4?
Yeah, they've still got injuries. Obviously, the Reece James situation.
He's not a player anymore.
Yeah, let's bin him off. Then I think
Chilwell, bin him off.
And then so at the moment you're doing the Levi Colwell and Was it Tosin? It might. I like Tosin. He's come in as a free transfer. He's been good. Cucurella and Malo Gusto, which I like.
Yeah, Malo Gusto come back into the team for the first time this season, I think, or since the first game week.
Oh no, Fofana.
Fofana, yeah.
Fofana's fit now, so it's Colwell and Fofana, I think.
I'll get you their starting 11.
And
so they lined up with Sanchez in goal. I'm still not sold on him.
That was going to be my next point. He's the problem. There's a couple of where he's trying to play it out from the back and he's giving it away.
Yeah, which we've seen time and time again, even for his time
ideal.
at Forest Green. Malo Gusto, who I'm a big fan of, really like him. I think he's the one going forward, bin off Reece James. Fofana, Colwill, I don't mind that at all.
Pretty solid.
I mean, they're starting to see some return on their £80 million spent for Fofana 6 years ago. And then Cucurella, he's a massive wanker, but he's actually playing all right.
Facts.
Caicedo, he's been good this season.
He's come into, good
Enzo's
rifle.
still a bit underwhelming, I would say, but the midfield pivot is starting to settle.
I think he looks really good in games where Chelsea are exploiting a high line, like Brighton, because all you have to do is he's good at kind of finding kind of like a long pass, and when you've got runners like Nico Jackson against a high line, kind of all your long passes kind of come off because all you're doing is just punting it into space. Whereas like against a low block, bang average.
I think, Nicholas Jackson's obviously had a really good start to the season.
Player.
He's one that is, you could tell that there was something there, but you're only as good as the goals you score. But now he's starting to see that.
I think he's got a really nice relationship with Cole Palmer. I saw a stat where they've got the best kind of like duo kind of goals and assists in the league. So he scored 3, assisted by Cole Palmer's 3, and Palmer scored 3, assisted by Nicholas Jackson's 3.
And what I really like, though, is the trio behind Nicholas Jackson. You've got Noni Madueke, who's had a really good start to the season. You've got Cole Palmer, who we'll talk about in a minute. But you've also got Jadon Sancho playing out on the left. And it's night and day. He's there. He's enjoying his football. And he brings so much balance to the team.
Yeah.
But at United, you never want to see him occupy the pockets. For Chelsea, it's all he's doing. He's coming in, he's drifting inside, he's creating chaos, he's allowing Cucurella to go on the overlap, he's allowing Cole Palmer to drift, and he's allowing Nico Jackson to sort of make those direct runs. It works, and it could prove to be a really smart piece of transfer business from Chelsea there. But we have to talk about Cole Palmer. 4 goals.
Kid's crack.
Is he like the most explosive player, maybe bar Haaland?
Well, that's what I was saying at the start of the pod, where like when I was comparing him to Saka, where Saka will have a good game.
But he won't score 4.
He'll drop like 1, maybe 2. But Cole Palmer drops hat-tricks like Haaland drops hat-tricks almost.
Mental. It's mental. I mean, how many goals and assists he got since his debut?
So, funny you should say that. Since his debut in September 2023, so it's a year now, he's got...
This is his debut for Chelsea.
Yeah. He's got 40 goals or assists, which is 1 more than Erling Haaland's 39.
He's got to be...
Most Premier League goal involvement.
That's got to be like 40 goals and assists in, 38 games? Something like 30-odd games?
Yeah.
That's
probably,
mental.
yeah, he's probably got a positive KD at the moment, which is crazy.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's nuts. He's 40 for Cole Palmer, 39 for Haaland, 34 for Ollie Watkins, 32 for Salah, 31 for Son.
31 for Son is pretty...
He's actually good, yeah. I didn't actually clock that. But yeah, this guy is... I think when he signed for Chelsea, I saw a lot of people like, what's going on here? 40 million for a Man City, unproven reject, blah, blah. And it maybe was that. And a lot of people saying, oh, Chelsea's not the environment to kind of...
To thrive.
Yeah, to kind of let this guy blossom.
But the minute he went in there,
mate,
he became cold Palmer, chippy chip man. He became the main man.
That's it. He got just main character energy. And I see the timeline is jokes whenever Cole Palmer does well, because it's like Cole Palmer's so good because he hasn't got enough going on upstairs to kind of feel pressure.
He doesn't think about things, does he?
Mate, he is so good, but so thick at the same time.
Is he the best English player in the Premier League at the minute?
I think he's the best player in the Premier League right now.
It's hard to argue.
Haaland's a bagsman.
I mean, he
but
offers
Haaland
so
is
much
not.
more.
Oh, Haaland's bagging a pen, obviously, but Haaland's not picking up a free kick from 30 yards out, putting that top bins, and then assisting all the time. Mate, I think this guy is... I don't want to say it because fuck Chelsea, but I think he's the best player in the league right now.
It's nuts. And it's just disappointing that we didn't get to see more of him at the Euros. But
0 starts in the Euros.
It's nuts.
That is Gareth Southgate.
I mean,
mate.
are Man City looking at Phil Foden now thinking...
I think the discussion has to be had. Maybe it's a whole separate video on... Phil Foden has done it. He won PFA Player of the Season last season. But...
He's never put up numbers like Cole Palmer.
He's never hitting this level.
And in arguably a worse team. And although, yes, Foden plays less minutes because he's in a team full of stars.
Could Foden go to Chelsea and do what Cole Palmer's doing?
40 goals and assists in less than a year.
It's cracked stuff.
It's mental. It's mental. I'm going to put one to you now. Right now.
And to you at home.
Right now. If you're Mikel Arteta.
Oh, God.
Do you wish you could have... Would you trade Cole Palmer for Saka?
No.
Like, just in... All right.
No.
Right.
I think
all right,
our system is so perfect.
Let me
We've
rephrase
got
this.
Odegaard, we don't
Let me
need to.
rephrase this. You're Real Madrid. You can sign either Saka or Cole Palmer.
It's contextual though, isn't it? It's like what does that squad need? If you've got a right winger that's good,
it's difficult.
You get Cole Palmer. If you've got a kind of central attacking midfielder that's good, you get
Because
Saka.
he's definitely better in the 10 than he is out on the right.
Yeah,
Or
well, that's
on the
why Madueke plays now.
Yeah,
Everything goes through Cole Palmer.
I don't know. I just want to compare them.
I don't. I want to compare him and Foden because him and Foden play the same position. Saka should be compared to the likes of Yamal, Salah, not Cole Palmer.
Noni Madueke.
Noni Madueke.
No, yeah, that's fair enough. It's a difficult one, but it's always one.
No, it is. It's interesting.
When you have two prime English talents in the Premier League.
I've said it. I'm on Twitter and I'm slagging off Chelsea for fun. But I've said it on the pod. You've got recorded evidence. I said right now. To be fair, I said right now. It could change next week. Cole Palmer is the best player in the Premier League right now.
It's hard to argue. Although Haaland had 9 goals in, was it 6 games?
Stunk it up against Newcastle, though.
Was proper stinky.
And apart from the goal against Arsenal, wasn't actually that good. But
that's exactly the point, isn't it? Like, Cole Palmer would have offered something.
Cole Palmer, what I like about him is he just gets involved in all like areas of play. So what he'll do is he'll come deep, receive it. He's so calm on the ball.
And he'll come deep and then he'll just ping a pass.
That's it. So he's got the ability to like what you want from like the best number 6s in the world, which is to receive the ball from the defence under pressure, turn and drive up the pitch. He can do that. And then he could be the one a bit further forward that kind of will knit that play from the centre-backs to the strikers. He can do that. And then he can fucking finish as well. The kid's all over the pitch.
He scores all different kinds of goals. Tap-ins, 30-yard strikes, free kicks.
And that's why I had like no worries that he was not going to flourish under Maresca, because all you need to do as a manager is just look at this guy and be like, have the freedom of the pitch.
If you have Jadon Sancho and Noni Madueke, who are fantastic dribblers, who will pin the fullbacks, then you've got all this space between sort of the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the box where Cole Palmer can operate freely. Otherwise, it causes a centre-back to push up. Oh, hold on, Nicholas Jackson's in behind. Enzo pushes up there, and then you've almost got like a 3 with Sancho, Jackson, and Madueke, and then that's pinning back the back line. And you've got Enzo and Palmer there. You know, it's a really good system.
Just let him do what he wants. And I think, and we'll get on to Man United, that's why we've seen such a fat decline in Bruno, because Bruno's now not got that freedom anymore. He's kind of either having to play like
really deep,
or he's getting shoved out to the wing to accommodate like Xerxes playing in the middle. And it's kind of like he's lost that freedom, whereas like Cole Palmer is just absolutely relishing that freedom to just kind of do what he wants.
Chelsea, as a overall though, do they have enough to finish in the top 4 this season?
I think top 4 for sure. I said 9th. I regret that. I hold my hands up. That was a little bit of bias.
They were such an unknown quantity going into the season.
There's a little bit of bias there. Not going to lie to you. But
do they have enough?
Defensively, I still worry. I think Sanchez is a problem. I think the centre-backs are okay, but I think they're both gettable. Like Fofana against like a good striker, I reckon he struggles. Same with Colwell. I reckon against good strikers, they struggle.
I think for me, it's all to do with that back line. I think you're going to have games where, like you say, teams will set up deep against you and look to hit you on the counter, which Brighton do the opposite of. They want to push high and take the play to you, which where Chelsea thrive. They want to get fast counter attack. They're doing what Man United want to be, that transitional team. Against the better teams, Chelsea will struggle more. Against a team like Arsenal, who will dominate the game and have fantastic centre backs.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what hard games Chelsea have had. So they start the season against Man City, but you can kind of scrap that because Chelsea's still finding their feet at that point.
And it wasn't a bad performance either.
No, it wasn't. And then I can't really think of who else they've played that's like
I think
decent level.
I think they absolutely smash United. I think they probably smash Spurs.
Them against Spurs, I'd like to see it.
It's gonna be like an 8-all.
Yeah, it could be nice actually.
And then I don't think they maybe like someone like Newcastle. It could be quite an interesting game. But yeah, I think there's a lot going on at Chelsea and mainly good things at the minute.
I think Chelsea fans got to be pretty buzzing with the season so far.
It's mental how football can turn around like
it's
that.
nice, I can imagine, to go into a season with pretty low expectations and be positively surprised.
Yeah. From one team like Chelsea who are doing quite well to a team like Man United who have absolutely hit new lows. It is. I find it unfathomable how they can continue to get worse.
It's that. Like, we'll talk about Spurs after because I think this is a game of kind of two kind of areas for Spurs.
Yeah.
One being like they were really good,
But
and
how
the
much
other
of
being
that
like
is...
how much of that is Man United should be an absolutely dog.
So Ten Hag, he's been there. What is this? His third, fourth season?
I think this is his third.
So
Is this his fourth? I don't know. He's been here too long for this shit.
But anyway, he's been here far too long for them to be playing like that. I mean, we've said it countless times. I'm not going to repeat myself. I feel like we speak ad nauseum about how Ten Hag has bought in.
And whenever we talk about Man United, this guy says ad nauseum.
We spoke about how many times we spoke about Ten Hag bringing in players that he wants, bringing in players that facilitate a style of play. He brought in Onana to play out from the back. He brought in ball playing defenders like the Sandro Martinez to play out from the back. He's brought in Ugarte. He's brought in all these players. Yeah, Xerxes, Højlund, Mason Mount, and not one of them is any good. The only player who's any good for them is Onana because he stops 10% of the 50-100 shots they take a game.
Really good game.
And I feel sorry for him because he was the scapegoat for so long.
He was so easily scapegoated at the start when actually he's all right and the rest are shit.
If you put him in any other team in the Premier League, he's probably a pretty decent goalkeeper.
So the game starts, and I'm going into this game thinking, no Son for Spurs. Man United, off of the back of a good result last week, albeit they had a bad midweek where they drew against 20. All the memes were like, Ten Hag's that kind of like, this worked against 20. Why is this not working in the Premier League? And now they're all like, didn't even work against 20. But Ugarte in, centre-back pairing of...
De Ligt and Martinez.
Decent.
Mazraoui, Dalot.
It's probably like Man United's strongest team.
Yeah, there's no excuses. You know excuses. You got Manu, Ugarte, you got Bruno, you've got Garnacho, Rashford.
And from minute one, they were just getting overwhelmed. It was like
it's
none
like they
of
had
these
never
players...
played together before.
That's exactly it. Like, none of these players know what this other guy's doing. Like, I talk about Arsenal all the time, but Arteta came in, and the first thing he does, you can see it in the Arsenal All or Nothing documentary.
You're going to talk about how he says, right, when Rice is here, what are you doing?
He's like, I want you to be able to close your eyes and know on the pitch where everyone will be. And that's like the opposite of this Man United team. It's like, even when they're staring at each other, these guys don't know what each other's going to do next.
No, it is absolutely absurd. It's like you say, like watching a bunch of people who have never played together before. Some of them who look like they've never played football before, and it boggles the mind.
It's it can only be two things. It's one, because most of these players are new signings. And
Are
the
they
other
though?
is,
Are they?
well, like
so you got
Xerxes,
Mazraoui, De Ligt, Ugarte.
There's a lot of new signings in there. And then the other reason is just fucking dog shit management and tactical nous.
But what happens during the week when are they actually turning up to training? Like,
so
what
bad.
the fuck is being coached? Because if I was Ratcliffe at this point, I would be making wholesale changes to everything that goes on behind the scenes there. I would have stripped it down to the bare bones, and I would have just started again. Because it's fucking shit. It is awful. The only people who are profiting of this are all the deluded Man United fans who have actually had enough now, and they're threatening to fight people out in the car park.
Shout out Saeed, that video is so
brilliant.
fucking funny. He's like, Wallahi is personal.
Yeah. Like,
that is good.
At this point, I would never say I feel sorry for Man United fans.
No.
Because you can never feel sorry for Man United fans. But if this was any other team, I'd feel sorry for them, their fans.
It's just, and like we said at the start when we were talking about Man United, it's the worst it's ever been. And how can this and that is the long and short of it. How can this Don have more time and be getting worse?
They are worse than Oli. They are worse than Mourinho. They're worse than Van Gaal.
What's that stat that you're telling me about Man United?
Mate, they're worse than Gary Neville. Hold on, I'll get it up.
Worse than Gary Neville. So Luke, hit me with this stat.
Gary Neville's record at Valencia, right?
Come on.
28 games, 11 losses, 39 goals, 38 goals conceded. So I actually scored one more goal than they conceded.
Plus 1 KD, that's good.
Erik Ten Hag in his last 28 games, 13 losses, 2 more losses than Neville. 35 goals scored, 4 less than Neville at Valencia. 45 goals conceded, which is 7 more than Neville at Valencia. Obviously, they're two very different things. And this isn't something you build an argument on. You wouldn't begin making a thesis around this
but
point.
It doesn't help.
But it just goes to show how bad things are. They're getting nowhere near the top 6.
No, and I saw dusty Man United fans, like, is it the Stretford Paddock? Is that a channel from Man United? They had them finishing 2nd in the league.
I'm finishing 3rd.
Yeah, this twat. But what was another? So let's start with the goal. First goal, Man United are on the attack. Marcus Rashford gets a ball played through.
Bear in mind, at this point, there is like 3 Man United players furthest forward are on the halfway line. Rashford wins the ball
and tries
and then like hits this like sort of long stretching run, and then Van der Ven says, "I'll have that." Marcus Rashford just gives up, doesn't even try and like block his path, just gives up, sort of like does a light jog off. Van der Ven bolts down the pitch.
It was nuts, to be fair.
At this point, my missus switched over the channel, and then I saw on Sky Sports flicked up Man United 0, Spurs 1.
He just goes all the way into the box. Like, I think he goes past Ugarte, goes past
He gets
De
to the
Ligt.
byline.
Mate, he just absolutely murders about 4 Man United players. And then people do that and then kind of shit the bed in the box. But he does this disgusting little drilled into the corridor of uncertainty past Onana. And Brennan Johnson's there for his 4th goal in 4 games.
Brennan Johnson, by the way, for someone who's been getting slandered, not even by everyone, but just Spurs fans alone.
And now they're here sucking him off.
So that's what I want to say. And that's 1-0.
That is 1-0.
Backs against the wall already. Backs against the wall already.
It is so bad.
And then it goes from bad to worse.
Yeah. Bruno Fernandes. Let's talk about this donut. So we mentioned him when we were talking about Cole Palmer, but... So
yeah, Brennan Johnson scores. Then the first half is basically just Spurs sort of putting the sword to Man United.
But not scoring.
They could have been like 6 up.
Yeah, I think Timo Werner had a couple of one-on-ones.
And we spoke about this before we started recording, where it was almost like Man United was so open that Spurs thought it was like a trap. They didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
They were so... All Spurs like sort of pre-game build-up where they've been, right, this is how we're going to build up. This is where the ball needs to be. And when the ball's there, that's where you need to be to get into that space. None of that mattered because Man United was just like sort of like, yeah, come on through and we'll defend it in the box. You don't even need to work for this space. You can have that space. No, exactly. And they kept Spurs out for the most part. Then Bruno it's head loss, really.
So yeah, I said on Twitter, he's just dumb. Like, it's not a red. I'm sure you've seen it. He slips, which I think
he slips
immediately.
Invalidates the red card.
Unless he like slips and still manages to like fucking boot Maddison in the face. The slip invalidates anything really because you can't help it.
It definitely looks worse in the moment,
especially when you got the commentators going, "Ooh."
Yeah, if you're on the pitch, it looks like a red card because it looks like he's just like stuck his leg out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he slipped and as he slipped, he's like flung out his left foot.
Yeah.
And he sort of caught what's his name, Maddison, with his ankle, and
it's dumb. It's just, as a captain, don't be dumb.
It's on the halfway line, mate.
Just let other players, let Ugarte or let De Ligt do dumb shit. You cannot be the best player on the team and be dumb.
He had players behind him. Maddison wasn't really going anywhere too quickly because he was sort of moving like sideways as it happened. And I saw Bruno came out afterwards, said he wanted to speak to the press, which is fair enough. I don't mind that. But he came out and he was like, look, I don't think it's a red card, but maybe he gave it because he stopped a counter-attack. then you realise that. But it was still a yellow card. The red card is harsh.
Yeah,
and the red
card's
card,
very harsh.
to an extent, for the second week running, ruined the game.
Yeah.
But, like I said with Declan Rice, like I said with Trossard, if you do dumb shit, if you give the referee an opportunity to book you, you cannot complain.
What is it? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Exactly. And so that is the situation they're in. They get to half-time, it's 1-0. Second half, they make some changes, don't they?
They do. Well, they bring Mason Mount on. There was a weird period where they had 9 players on the pitch for one point because someone came off and then they didn't even replace. They did like a sub but didn't bring someone on. They took Kobbie Mainoo off. I think he was injured.
Yeah, they took Mainoo off and brought Mount on. And then immediately after that, Mount gets booked. And then it's half-time. Then they brought on Casemiro for Xerxes. So they've gone...
Casemiro actually looked good when he came on. Had a couple of close chances.
Yeah, mental. I don't know. It's nuts. And then Spurs brought on Jed Spence as well, who I thought was really good when he came on. Then obviously Kulusevski scores.
Kulusevski, I think we'll take a moment to talk about him. When he burst onto the scene at Spurs, he was playing right wing. And everybody was comparing him to my boy Saka as well. But he's found this nice little position now as a kind of inside 8-10 kind of vibe. And I think I think he's like one of those players that he might not be having a good game all the time. But he doesn't like shirk responsibility.
Yeah.
He'll always put himself about. He'll try and make things happen.
I mean, if he's not on the ball, he's still physical. Like he gets in players' face. He's really good at the press.
And that's something fans like. Like, you can be not the best player on the team, but as long as you're putting yourself about, trying to make things happen when you get the ball, fans love that. And I think that's what Kulusevski's got going for him at the moment.
For me, maybe he's like not dynamic enough to be like a one-on-one like player beating winger. But he is big enough and good enough with the ball at his feet. And
very
what we used to speak about a lot was his ability to shuttle the ball. He would be the glue that would sort of bring defence into attack. And so this position does suit him, although I think it does impact his overall numbers.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see if they play a game against a good side, if that midfield is compact enough. Because they've played this midfield twice now, I think. Once against Arsenal, when we had a pretty weak midfield and they could go super attacking with Bentancur behind. And one against Man United where they're shit and went
Man
down
United
to
had
10 men.
midfield, yeah.
So that works. But I'd be intrigued to see against a better team if Maddison and Kulusevski with Bentancur behind is solid.
I don't know if it's defensively.
I think it gets ripped apart against a good team.
But then again, if Spurs want to play this really high line where there is sort of no difference between the defensive line and the midfield, it maybe is.
And to be fair, they've got the inverting fullbacks as well, which help.
But yeah, and then Kulusevski scores, and then it's just, I don't know, Man United didn't actually look so bad the second half.
No.
But I think that's because they sort of, the pressure was off. They were out of this game.
I think that's Man United to a T. They used to be the team that put pressure on other teams, scare other teams. Now they only turn up in games where there's no pressure. They turn up in
against
Barnsley, or against in an FA Cup final against Man City where everyone's expecting them to lose, so the pressure's off. They'll turn up in that game. They turn up in games where there's no responsibility. Players don't have any kind of pressure. Bottle job players, mate.
Yeah, and then obviously Sarr comes on. He does a nice little flick on. Solanke gets, what's his second goal?
Yeah, I think it's 3-3 now.
So, yeah, it was a good performance by Spurs, but I think it's overshadowed by how poor Man United were. Yeah, Mason Mount got injured after coming on before half-time.
It's just a mess there.
He's done.
I've seen Man United fans say it's got to a stage where they're not even affected by the losses anymore. And that is the worst place to be as a fan.
Yeah. I mean, all it's doing is killing fans. That's all it does. It's just, the fans don't look forward to the weekend matches anymore.
Nope.
It becomes a chore.
Fuck Man United. So, back in last season, we did a bit of Opta predictors.
I think I saw something where... Oh, no, you sent it to me. Spurs have accumulated more XG this season at Old Trafford than Man United have.
That's the end, mate.
Let me... Hold on. I'll get it, because it is a mental stat.
Yeah. Well, Man United have only scored one goal at home this season.
Was that the Xerxes one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It just says Tottenham have created more XG than Man United at Old Trafford this season. Ten Hag, you're a fraud.
No, it's so bad. So, yeah, Opta Predictor. Last season, we kind of looked throughout the season at kind of who's most likely, in quotation marks, to win the Premier League. So, currently, Liverpool are 1 point clear at the top of the Premier League, and then behind them are Manchester City and Arsenal. But Liverpool, not even top 2 for percentage to win. So Man City currently 73% chance.
That's a big
of winning,
chance.
even without Rodri.
That's nuts.
Which is impressive.
I mean, what were they with Rodri? Like 89%?
I'd say like 90.
Yeah.
And then Arsenal at 17%. Liverpool at 9%. And then next, most likely, is Chelsea at 0.2%.
So not likely at all.
Not likely at all.
I mean,
but
just on this basis right now, Rodri's out for the season. On your own predictor, what would your percentages be?
So I'd say
just give me Arsenal, Man
City,
City, and then like an outsider.
Liverpool. I'd say Man City. I know they're going to go big in January and get a DM. I know they're talking about Zubimendi, which I like. I think they will get someone in because they can't go the whole season without Rodri and like kind of risking.
Can't rely on Kovacic, Gundo.
Nah, it's not happening.
Rico Lewis.
I'd say right now Man City for me are about 60%. Arsenal 30%, Liverpool 10, something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna go.
Maybe us 35, Liverpool 5.
I was gonna say Man City 55, Arsenal 40, and then Liverpool with a 5. I think Man City and Arsenal for me, I mean, Rodri is a huge miss. And we'll go on to talk about it just briefly in a minute. But Rodri is a huge miss. So, yeah, obviously, Man City, early kickoff on Saturday, dropped points against Newcastle in a game where they weren't really that good. And Rodri missing was key. And you could see it there. Defensively, they weren't as solid. Even going forward, they weren't as good. Because he is that glue. Newcastle were good, though. And then Arsenal survived the late scare.
Mate, I was worried because I saw Man City drop points and I was like, just get this Leicester win over the line and it's happy days. And we're 2-0 up. I was like, oh, I can chill. Second half starts and we're 2-2 in no time. And I'm like, mental. Jesus Christ, this is happening.
It was absolutely mental because I couldn't see for a minute that Leicester were getting back into that game.
Oh, big shout out Ethan Waneri, mate, because it was 2-2. He came on, 17 years old. This kid is special. Receive the ball. Like, there's not many players that at that age can come in and just kind of up the tempo massively. Like, you need to be a pretty kind of like confident player in your ability.
That's like prime Modric.
To like receive the ball and up the tempo immediately. And everything he did was at a high tempo. Everything was going forward.
Sometimes that's what young players bring though.
No fear, mate.
Like what Kobe Manu done when he came on. They're so unafraid and unearned by the situation.
Mate, this kid.
All they want to do is prove themselves.
Excellent. If he has a good run of form, mate, I want to see him at the World Cup squad. I know that's still a while away, but he's going to the World Cup, mate.
There's time. I mean, Kobe got into the Euros.
Special player, mate.
But yeah, it was a scare, wasn't it?
It was a scare.
And then they finished 4-2. Kai Havertz getting another goal. I think he had one ruled out as well.
Yeah, no, it's all right. We'll take it. PSG tomorrow night.
Maybe this is the difference.
I'll see you there. I'm going. Maybe
this is the difference. Is like Man United with Rodri, clutch. They will clutch up.
Man City, yeah.
Maybe Man City without Rodri, just he is that clutch guy.
Oh, he's the most clutch player in their team. Yeah.
Without him, do they have enough to see through these moments like against Newcastle, when they have their backs against the wall? But Arsenal have this, and I think they have it in multiple players. None other than Kai Havertz, though. I think he's been unreal. Right. Should we move on to the Howler of the week?
Go on. What we got, Luke?
Right, I sent this to you early doors on Saturday.
Price, Sargent. Well, Cashin's there again, but it's in. Sargent has lost his chance there, but it's a brilliant finish.
Decides he wants to play it outside the boundaries of the pitch. The ball is a full ball over the length of the pitch. Ball goes into the box. You score. I love the fact that the Championship doesn't have VAR.
But stuff like this.
I mean, it didn't matter.
Well, stuff like that should just be like a buzzer in the ball that kind of like beats.
Well, surely they're just like they have goal line technology. Why can't you just extend it?
Yeah, 100%.
But I don't think it mattered in the end anyway. But because I think Norwich ran out 4-0 winners. I think Sainz scored a hat trick.
He did.
But and I think that was twice the ball went out of play for the goals he scored.
Nice.
So check that out. And then moving on to the best of the rest. QPR versus Blackburn. It was a terrible game for us. We lost 2-0.
I'm going to let him have this one, but I'm actually going to override it after.
We can have a poll. QPR, when a player down, Jonathan Varane, brother of Rafael Varane, who retired this week, decided to... he made this like nice mazy run through the middle of the pitch, went past like 2 players, and then lost control of the ball and just lunged out and stepped on his ankle, got sent off. Backs against the wall, went 1-0 down, then went 2-0 down. But our goalkeeper, Paul Nardi, mate, he made this fantastic quadruple save. Check it out here.
Well, Cantwell, right-footed strike. Nardi with the save. Dolan on the follow-up. Nardi with the double save. Can he get there third time round? He does. Cantwell on the rebound. It might have come off the post. Still not cleared as it's moved across the face of goal and deflected on wide. Was it a triple save that from Paul Nardi?
Nut save. It's a nut save. But yeah, I don't know. I couldn't really think of anything better.
I was going to override it with another goalkeeping performance. Mads Hermansen against Arsenal. This geezer made 13 saves.
It was nuts.
He was on crack. How can you concede 4 and still be the best player on the pitch?
Yeah, he was unreal.
So
Leicester have a sort of, maybe apart from Danny Ward, they've got a pretty good record of goalkeepers.
Oh, yeah, he's Danish as well, I think, Mads.
Yeah.
So
Oh, there you go, yeah.
So he's like, taking after Kasper Schmeichel.
If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Come
Just keep getting
on.
your Danish keepers in. Right. Time to put your money where your mouth is, boy. It's time for BoreDraw 5s.
Check out my predictions here. Guess who forgot to ask someone for BoreDraw 5s this week? This guy. So I'm going to do BoreDraw 5s this week whilst I'm walking the dog. There's the boy. So, what fixtures for BoreDraw 5s? Let's start with Man City Newcastle. No Man City missing Rodri, but still reckon they get this one over the line. 2-1 Man City. And then we'll do Arsenal Leicester. I think that's an easy win for Arsenal. Going to go 3-0 at home against Leicester. And then what other fixtures are there? Chelsea Brighton. Chelsea Brighton's a good game. I don't know, 2 open teams. I reckon there's goals in this one. Maybe a draw, 2-2 draw. Mate, I don't know. 2-2 draw? Yeah, let's go 2-2 draw. Last fixture for Saturday, let's go Liverpool Wolves. I'm going to go... I actually like Wolves. I know they've had a bad start to the season, but I actually like what they got going. 2-1 to Liverpool, though. And then finally, the big game of the weekend. Man United versus Spurs. 2 awful teams, in my opinion. Go 2-1 United. There you go. I hope that ages well. See me at the top of the leaderboard. Right. So, how did I do? Well, let me run you through it.
I'm expecting nothing but 12 points.
Dubs, mate. So obviously it was my responsibility to sign up someone to BoreDraw 5s. I forgot. So I thought, no, I'll get myself on there.
Nice and early.
I picked the games. Started off with Man City versus Newcastle. As I said in the video, I thought Man City, even without Rodri, have enough. So I said 2-1. Close. But they didn't have enough. 1-1. So that's 0 points for me. Cracking start. And then I went on to my boys. As I said in the video, I was like, comfy 3-0 win. Again, if it's just the first half, it was comfy. And then it wasn't. I said 3-0. It was 4-2. That's a point for me.
I mean, and at this point now, you've got 1 point with another
3 games to go.
9 points potential. So to beat Mike,
I need to get them all.
You need to get 3 correct results, which just goes to show how mental Mike's prediction was.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going anywhere near him this season. Up next, I said Chelsea 2, Brighton 2. I said 2 leaky defences, that there would be goals. Just didn't think there'd be that many goals.
Not from one boy.
4-2 Chelsea, so that's 0 points again. Liverpool versus Wolves. I said 2-1. It was 2-1.
Bang on.
That's 4 points. And then I bottled this last one. I said Man United to beat Spurs 2-1. The red card ruined it. Maybe it wouldn't have happened. Maybe it wouldn't. But it was 3-0 Spurs. So that's 4 points for me.
I think that puts you third on the leaderboards.
Let us know in the comments down below who you'd like to come on to BoreDraw 5s. And then at another point in the season, we'll get Luke to do it. So we're both on there. But yeah, let us know who you'd like to get involved.
We'll have to add up our scores to get anywhere near the top.
Mate. Mike's mate.
We're ever going to bring someone back onto it for a second try?
Matt wants to come back on for another try.
Oh, Matt got 1 point, didn't he? Or 2 points?
Yeah, he had a bit of a stinker. Maybe 3, I think.
Might have to let him. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. It's been BoreDraw episode 110. There's plenty more football content to come, so make sure you are subscribed. We're going to be pumping out loads and loads and loads of content coming up to the Christmas period. We've got international break in a couple of weeks, so we'll be making sure that you've got some actual content to watch during that and not stinky international football. If you guys do want to cop yourself a nice little fresh football shirt, go to Classic Football Shirts, use the link in the description and use code BoreDraw10 at checkout to save yourself a nice little 10% off. Anything you want to add?
Nah. Let us know your Opta kind of percentages.
It'd be very interesting to see that. We'll reply to some comments in the description. Thank you very much for watching, and it's live.